Hello Virgos, hello fellow Virgos. It's my reading, your reading, we're all reading together here for May with Joey, the starry-eyed hedge witch. We're going to be looking at the Seed and Sickle Oracle and the Dawn reading. So we're going to be pulling a plant spirit for us all, seeing what can really help us through the month, where to connect to, where our energies are going, what plant is going to help us. And if you would like to see more of this deck, you absolutely should, because it's my absolute favourite, and you can do that right well, after this particular video here on the YouTube channel, because I have a whole video dedicated to it because I love this deck. So let's have a look what's in store for me and the fellow Ooh, we got Henbane. We got a proper poison. Look at that with the nooses and the death energy, and this is definitely in the winter section for us fellow Virgs. So the deck is separated into the seasons, and winter kind of tells us what we need to know about we're being calm, we're taking some rest periods, we're looking at death clearly because this is the henbane plant. So we're looking at endings, which is a bit of a theme in May. So, in ancient Greece, the bodies of the dead would be crowned with chaplets of henbane flowers to wear on their journey down the river Styx, a final link between their past life and the new one awaiting them. Whatever your destination, you're on the final stretch. Your goal is so close that you know the way with your eyes closed. Wear your crown. Move forwards. The river will take you there. Oh, I have chills, Virgos. I'm a Virgo. Obviously, look at your sun, moon, and rising for a fuller picture of all of this. But I have chills. Wear your crown. We've moved from crown of roses to crown of henbane. Apparently, we are embodying the death aspect. Okay, let's have a look at a little bit of folklore. So we're reading from bloodandspicebush.com. Henbane, iconic plant of the witches. E-botanist Wolf Dieter Stoll, oh I love him, has conjectured that henbane has been used for ritual and shamanic purposes in Eurasia since Paleolithic times. Black henbane is the most widely distributed species of all. It grows from Asia to Europe, from the Iberian Peninsula to Scandinavia, and has now become naturalized in North America and Australia. It was used as a ritual plant by the pre-Indo-European people of Central Europe. An urn of henbane seeds, along with bones and snail shells, was unearthed in Austria from the early Bronze Age. It was believed, according to Karl Ruck, that henbane, known as Hyoscyamus, was sacred to Dio Demeter Persephone due to her sacred animal being the sow. One translation of henbane's name was derived from the term pig bean. This I haven't heard of before, but I have to admit, the minute they were talking about crowns and the river Styx, I was immediately like Persephone Hades. We've got some Persephone Hades vibes coming for May. Interesting. It was used elsewhere in Europe. In Celtic regions, the plant was Belinutia, the plant of the sun god Baal. The Gauls poisoned their javelins with a decoction of henbane, while the medieval Anglo-Saxon herbals mentioned its medical uses. Albertus Magnus, in his De Vegetabilis, circa 1215, probably incorrectly stated, but I tried my best, stated that necromancers used the smoke to invoke the souls of the dead. Henbane takes a more erotic turn in the medieval bathhouses of the late Middle Ages, where the seeds were strewn over hot coals to incite, how do we say, titillating feelings. Oh yeah, it's definitely Hades and Persephone, my gods. The association between henbane and witchcraft, as we know them today, began in the Middle Ages. The witches drank the decoction of henbane and those dreams for which they were tortured and executed. It was used for witches' ointments and was used for making weather and conjuring spirits. If there was a great drought, then a stalk of henbane would be dipped into a spring and the sun-baked sand would be sprinkled with this. Persia, 1864. It was especially associated with divination and love magic. After monkshood, it was a favourite of poisoners. It is also believed that carrying the roots on one's person would render them invulnerable to the witchcraft of others. Fight poison with poison, perhaps. The smoke of the leaves was used to make one invisible, and it was smoked in a pipe to achieve this purpose. Henbane oil was made by infusing the leaves on gentle heat in oil. This made for a fine erotic massage oil or a therapeutic oil for soreness. If any plants were truly used in witchcraft ointments, it would most likely have been henbane. Henbane was also used as an ingredient in psychoactive beer, which ended with the Bavarian purity laws in 1516. Damn, we've all missed out on this beer. Even though its use in rituals named as an incense seed, the Germans loved their henbane beers, so they planted gardens of henbane just for this purpose, which were under the protection of Woden or Odin, the father of Donir. The henbane gardens have left their mark on Germany's history with place names like Billensee, Henbane Lake, and Billendorf, Henbane Village. The seeds were used by the Assyrians as well, combined with sulfur to protect against magic. Persian visionaries also took astral word journeys under the influence of henbane as Beleno and burnt it as an offering to Belenus, the god of oracles and the sun. Druids and bards inhaled the smoke to travel to the realm of the Fae and the other world. The Vikings considered it to be particularly important, which we know due to hundreds of seeds found in graves. A woman known as the Fukrat woman was unearthed in Denmark wearing a pouch of henbane seed. The earliest known record that mentions the Germanic uses of the plants comes from the time of Bishop Bouchard von Worms, which is a fabulous name, by the way, who passed in 1025. It describes a confessional in great detail that describes a rain ritual. They gather several girls and select these from small maidens as a kind of leader, disrobing her. They take her out of the settlement to a place where they can find Hyoscameus, which is known as bile in German. They have her pull this out with a little finger of the right hand and tie the uprooted plant to the small toe of the right foot with any kind of string. Then the girls, each of whom is holding a rod in her hands, leads the aforementioned maiden to the river, pulling the plant behind her. The girls then use the rods to sprinkle the young maiden with river water, and this way they hope to cause rain through their magic. They take the young maiden as naked as she is. He puts her feet down and moves herself in the manner of a crab by hands and leads her back to the settlement. That's interesting. Okay. The seeds served as fumigants for necromantic arts and to conjure the dead for Renaissance magical practitioners, as it does today. The foundational occultist Agrippa writes in 1531, "So say they, of coriander, smallage, henbane, and hemlock be made a fume, that spirits will presently come together, hence they are the spirit herbs." Also it is said, the fume made of the root of the reedy herb sagapen with the juice of hemlock and henbane, the herb Tapus barbarus, red sanders and black poppy make spirits and strange shapes appear, and if smallage be added to them, the fume chaseth away spirits from any place and destroys their visions. The root was also used as an amulet. Gosh, it goes on and on and on. Okay. Wow. Okay. I think we're probably good. So intimately was tied this plant with thoughts of witchcraft that the possession of it was enough to convict one of witchcraft in the 16th and 17th centuries. Okay. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of law. That's a whole lot. I might have to save that page. That was fascinating. So we have a lot of death energies. We have a lot of Hades and Persephones. We've got a lot of erotic titillation happening, apparently, Virgos, which is fine by me because, we could all use that. Just saying. It's very witchy. It's used in the ointments. It's very definitely used in the ointments. It has a rich history of being associated with gods and goddesses of liminal states, otherworldly beings, conjuring spirit. It's very witchy. It's a very, very witchy. And it has a massive history of crossover between states of being. So we have into a state of titillation. Love, sex, and death are all very closely interwoven. Let's be real with it. And they all sort of tie and tether in together. So with this Hades Persephone energy, what are we looking at? Close to our goals, close to stepping into our power. Wear your crown. So I really, really do feel there is all of this magic apparently very present and around for Virgos. May is a difficult astrological month. So apparently we're going to be navigating it as a mutable sign with all the power of the river Styx, and we're going to be okay, which is nice to know. If we can remember to crown ourselves and to step into that power, because it really does feel like, for a lot of Virgos, this is going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but you have to step into your sexual power. You have to step into your bad self. You have to step into more of your witchy, bamfy self. You have to really level up and power up, because you are almost there. Because I'm almost there. I love that movie. It might be a Disney movie, but I love it. Princess and the Frog. Such a good movie. So underrated as a Disney movie. It's so good. So it really is kind of like, I do feel that we must be exercising ghosts of the past a little bit as well. Like, leave the past in the past. That when things are dead, we have to leave them behind us, because there is no point spinning our wheels over that which is dead. And if we are engaging in death rituals or anything of that nature, then it is to our benefit. It is spirits who are helping us. It is connecting to our ancestors, our ancestral line, our past lives, anything like that, anything which is super witchy is on the cards for May, and it will work really well for us. And it's interesting because we do have all of this solar eclipse energy, we have some retrograde energy, we have the moon in Scorpio, which apparently is going to be really difficult for most people. But given this card, if we can align with this sort of Hades Persephone energy, then that super shifty Scorpio moon that everyone else is fearing in the astrology this month might actually work really well for some of the Virgos out there. If we're not at that moon, as I discuss on Patreon within the astral reading for the month, there's no point in like pushing too much around that time. We need a little self-care. So maybe that's a little sexy self-care. Maybe it's all Hades, it's all dark chocolate and, you know? Who knows? But what is definitely here is like this very liminal, otherworldly vibe for us. Very, very witchy Virgos. I'm kind of excited by this, to be honest. This fills me with joy. I feel like this is going to be actually a much better month than I had feared. So, you know, Virgo anxiety was like, and actually it's actually going to work out quite well if we practice magic. And that doesn't have to be witchcraft. It can be your own special brand of whatever makes you feel fizzy, but practice what means that you place a crown on your head, and it's a crown of henbane. It's beyond death, it's beyond spirits, it's beyond liminal, full of empowerment, Virgos, full of empowerment. If you'd like to learn more, you can of course head on over to Patreon, where each week we pull a couple of cards to see us through the energies, and as I mentioned, we pull an astral insight card and go through all the astrology events for May, which is a whole lot coming up this coming month. So if you'd like to hear more, please join me over there. You will not regret it. I love it over there, and many blessings.